almost 6 weeks now. And I hope we can continue to go like that. We're at a very rapid pace. We have to make up for a lot of lost time. And the country was very poorly run for 4 years. That you know better than anybody. Nobody covered it better than you, frankly. It's an honor to be with so many great people. We have really great people working with us.
You said America is back, momentum is back, our pride and spirit are back, and we're just getting started.
Right.
What do you specifically want America to look like in 4 years when you're done?
Well, I want a dynamic country where the private enterprise carries the day, not the government. And I want a strong country militarily. We need that nowadays. You can see that probably better than ever before. So I rebuilt our military. A lot of it was given away to Afghanistan, but it was a lot, but a very small portion, in all fairness. But when you think about the billions and billions of dollars that was just handed over, but I rebuilt it. We're going to be rebuilding it again because we need that. We always need that. But we're doing a series of incentives, tax incentives and other things. The tax bill, I think, is going to be very important. The Democrats will fight us all the way. One thing I learned the other night, again, I could say, because it's my 5th such speech. And at the beginning, I said, I didn't know it was going to be as pertinent as it turned out to be, that no matter what I do, this group of people in front of us, I could come up with the cure to the worst disease that the world has ever seen. I gave other examples. I said, no matter what I do, they're going to sit there angry, insolent. You just see it. I mean, you see it.
I think part of that's true, honestly. I think people would rather see the country fail than see Trump succeed. I do. I don't think this is something that's like exclusive to like Trump. I think people felt that way about Biden too, to an extent. But I feel like, especially like, you know, okay, well, we're not going to stand up and clap for, you know, some like kid with cancer or whatever. I mean, yeah, sure, it's optics and whatever, but if you play that optics game and you don't do that, you do kind of look like an asshole to average people, right? And so, yeah, it's about hate driven. Yeah, I would say so. It's a loser take, absolutely.
You can feel it. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, no matter who it is, they won't stand, they won't applaud, they won't clap.
Yeah.
They'll just sit there with sour faces. And that's what they did. And, you know, it was interesting. I said, I wonder if I should put this in, but it worked out to be true. And I think by putting it in, I showed that it was true. And it's sad because we're doing great things in this country. This country's really got a chance to be pretty quickly great again. I think the country has got a big light over it right now. And I've been told this by even other foreign leaders. We had Modi, we had everywhere. We had from France to India to about 12 that want to come in. They all want to be here. Every one of them wants to be here. We had the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom who was here, and he couldn't believe. He said the difference in terms of the feeling about the United States is very different. It feels that we're back, we're respected again. We are respected again. And in a way, we're back, and it's only been a few weeks.
And you spoke to the president of Mexico today. I want to talk about tariffs because even as you're seeing this optimism and excitement, there's some nervousness over your tariffs. Markets have been selling off. We're not sure how to view it.
Second, I'm going to pause it.
Why?
I don't know if respected is the right word, but I think a lot of people are afraid. Like, I think that's definitely it because, like, he does, like, Trump is, like, very unpredictable. And I think that, like, because he's so unpredictable, it makes people apprehensive about, like, doing anything against him, right? And, yeah, unpredictable, yes. Yeah, I think that's basically it. Fear and respect. Yeah, the U.S. has no friends anymore. I feel like if being friends with somebody is contingent on you giving them endless money, then, I don't know. I feel like, you know, it's not really a great friendship, is it?
Why did you roll back or put a pause into some of the tariffs until April 2nd?
Because I wanted to help Mexico and Canada to a certain extent. We're a big, big country, and they do a lot of their business with us, whereas in our case, it's much less significant. We do very little with Canada by comparison. And I wanted to help the American car makers until April 2nd. April 2nd, it becomes all reciprocal. What they charge us, we charge them. It's a big deal, but what they charge us, we charge them. But this is short term, and I felt that for the good of the American car makers and the MCA, the USMCA, that's Mexico, Canada. I thought it would be a fair thing to do, and so I gave them a little bit of a break for this short period of time.
But I asked you about this before, and I know you told me when I asked you, I said, you did use MCA, you put this together.
Yeah.
And yet then you come back and you change it up with these tariffs, and you said to me at that time, I did it because I can. I put an amendment in there, and I said in 6 years I can change it. But I think CEOs want to see predictability. They say, look, I have to speak with shareholders, I've got to make plans for CapEx spending.
Exactly
I can't if it's 20.
Yeah, that's I think one big reason why like people aren't spending money and people aren't investing money is they're afraid. They don't know what's going to happen. For sure. Reddit moderators just shut down pop culture. Remind me about that after I finish the video. I'll talk about it.
20% one day, and then it's off for a month, and it's 25%.
Yeah.
So can you give us a sense of whether or not we are going to get clarity for the business community?
Well, I think so, but the tariffs could go up as time goes by, and they may go up, and I don't know if it's predictability. I think
so. That's not clarity.
No, I think that they say that. It sounds good to say, but for years, the globalists, the big globalists, have been ripping off the United States. They've been taking money away from the United States, and all we're doing is getting some of it back, and we're going to treat our country fairly. This country has been ripped off from every nation in the world, every company.
I think this is an opinion a lot of people have, is that people view the relationship that the U.S. has with other countries as being one-sided. And they view that basically like we give way more than what we get. That's it. Yeah, we're a cash cow. Exactly. And I think that a lot of people are tired of that. And I think especially now because like money is like tight for a lot of people. That's not true. Who cares? Who cares whether it's true or not? At the end of the day, this is the way that people think. And this is the way, this is the reason why this is happening. It's an extremely common perception. Like I would say it's probably 70-80% of people feel this way. That if you ask like average Americans, do you think that the U.S. is getting more out of or spending more money out of its relationships with other countries? You would have probably over 80%. I'd say probably over 80% say that they're spending more money. Every country feels that way? Yeah, I don't know. But I think that's the way the U.S. feels. And so it would make some average Americans for fucking retards. Yeah, but like then you're going to have that's I mean, okay, you could say they're retarded or whatever, but like that's still the reason why a lot of people think that way. So yeah, that's it.
In the world, we've been ripped off at levels never seen before.
Yeah.
And all we're going to do is get it back. We're going to get a lot of it back. We're not going to let people take advantage of us anymore. We're the United States. I believe that if Kamala had won, meaning that whole ideology, Kamala and Biden and Obama, that whole group of people, if they had won, I don't think we would have had a country any longer. I think this was the most, somebody said it the other day, the most consequential election in 129 years. If they would have won, I don't think we would have had a country. Not only did we won every swing state. Remember, I was watching you.
Yeah, I think that definitely he's right about this too. Is that like Kamala Harris winning was like a big loss for like just woke ideology in general. It was a huge, massive loss. That was it. Yeah, and I think that that's what really kind of shifted things. It died. Yeah, it's basically dead now. And I think that that's really what people were. And it's kind of ironic because like Kamala Harris didn't really run on a lot of like, woke issues, right? Like she didn't really play up very often that she was like, I don't know, like a minority or a woman. Like, yeah, obviously it was discussed, but like it wasn't like, for example, like I remember when Hillary Clinton ran, oh my God, that was the only thing that mattered was that she was a woman, right? And so, yes, she did. I don't think that she really did, especially not compared to Hillary Clinton. Obviously, she brought it up. Of course, she brought it up. But and people would ask her about it a lot. But if I go back and I watch a lot of her speeches, she didn't bring it up very often. And that's I think that's true. That's what I remember. And so anyway, that being said, I think that what really matters though is like what that means culturally, right? Why would you do differently? Nothing comes to mind. Yeah, I don't know. She definitely did not run on far left values. No, definitely not.
Just before the election you're talking about, I think he's going to win 4 or 5. We won all 7. And we won the popular vote by millions of votes. We won the number of counties by 2,500 to 500, 2,750 to 500. And it's amazing. The map is all red.
Which is why I was surprised at the Democrats' behavior the other night, because you delivered among the most diverse, expanded audience, Republicans, Democrats, independents. Yeah. So is it just the Democrat leadership that does not see that?
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong with them. There's just something. I can't even believe it. They lost an election in a landslide.
I think he's right. I do. I think they've been totally captured by identity politics. And even now that they've lost on it, and it seems like people are shifting away from it culturally, they can't let it go. Yeah, they've been totally captured by it. I don't know if they're going to be able to get out of it, honestly, at this point. It's gotten so bad.
They were talking about men playing in women's sports. When I looked the other night, I made a speech. The Republicans were going wild, and the Democrats were having their little signs up. Their little signs, their little tiny signs.
Do you think they can't let go because they don't have anything else? I think a lot of Democrats, I think that if you took names and titles and you just had people vote on different issues without a name or a party attached to it, I think that Democrats are actually, I think that in many ways they have the advantage policy-wise, especially with social policies. I think that the majority of people agree with a lot of their social economic policies. But the problem is that they don't run on those policies. They focus on identity politics instead, and I think that's what really alienates a lot of people, such as, I would say parental leave whenever you're working, different types of workers' rights, an expansion of entitlement services, better health care. I would say like just things like that. Abortion. Yeah, abortion. Most people support abortion. Straight up, they do. Most people support abortion. Now, that's false. The vast majority of Democrats legal abortion, as do about 3/4 of conservatives. About 51% favor expansive abortion rights. So there you go. Nearly 2/3 of Americans support abortion legally in all or most cases. So yeah, so a majority of people support abortion. Yeah, a majority of people support abortion. That's true. And this is true by every observable metric that you can find. And I know that now that doesn't mean you have to. And this is in the U.S., right? And so anyway, my point is that aside from that, I think that I think what's frustrating to a lot of people that are like, I would say kind of like me, is that I'm very much like I think we should have universal basic income, right? Like I'm a UBI supporter. I think it's going to have to happen. And so I'm for like single payer healthcare, et cetera. But what really alienated me away and like why I would never vote, like I would basically never vote for a Democrat ever. And the reason why is because they support a group of people that will actively disenfranchise me based off of my identity. And I will never support somebody that will do that with no exceptions. Just straight up. Like if somebody is going to put me at a disadvantage for any reason because of some immutable characteristic, I will never vote for them. That's it. Like I won't vote for, and if they side with people that do that, I will never vote for them. So yeah, it's a non-starter. It's an immediate non-starter, like instant decline. Right? Because like, yeah, I don't want white guy being disenfranchised. Well, whenever opportunities are provided for a person and I'm not part of that group, then yeah, I'm being disenfranchised. It's a zero-sum game. Yes, it is. And so that's it. It's literally that simple. And I will never vote against my own self-interest. Just under no circumstance for any reason. And I would also recommend everybody else to do the exact same thing. I think that's the smart thing to do. Don't be a martyr. And anyway, so What about gaming, by the way? You're right. You're definitely right. My stream is, I'm very lucky. I don't know what that has to do with it. And what's this here? You bet the net coin sinker. What is this here? And yeah, we've had a lot of there's really been a lot of retards in chat today. It's been really kind of impressive. What are you unhappy that I'm talking about here? Are you saying you're not going to vote for racists? No, I'm not. Says a millionaire? Yeah. If there's like an opportunity provided for somebody and I'm not part of that group, then why would I support it? Like, really? Like, give me one good reason why I should support a group of people who actively want to, you know, give advantages to people that aren't me. You keep going on about DEI and wokeness when I don't even care about that. There are billionaires taking over the government. There have been billionaires taking over the government forever. I mean, I don't view this as like some kind of like unique evil. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but like, I'm not gonna view this as like some kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Now there's billionaires being involved. Yeah, no, this has been going on forever. Like, look at the amount of money that the Koch brothers have invested into politics for the last 20 years. There's just because they did a better job at hiding it and they're not doing it as overtly. You think I'm supposed to like act like that's better? Absolutely not. There's a major difference between doing it publicly or doing it privately. Not really. I mean, I care about the effect of something, not necessarily the intent or like the way it's done. But yeah, anyway, so Death Stranding 2 PlayStation live stream. Yeah, I'll watch that in a few minutes. But anyway, my point is that I wanted to get to is that, yeah, I would never support anybody that would put me at a disadvantage. And that is a non-starter single issue for me. And I think that there are a lot of guys that feel the exact same way that I do. And if you don't feel the way that I do, I think you should.
And I said, it's unbelievable. They don't get it. They don't get it now.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to end up being a minor party if they keep going like this, because people don't want to hear about these stupid ideas that they have. Transgender for everybody. And again, the men and women's sports, what is that, a 90 to 10 deal? I don't even know who the 10 would be.
Yeah.
But they're fighting for it. And I try and say to myself, because you always like to understand where your opponent is, whether it's in business or anything else, is there something I don't understand? But we don't understand it. You look at their theories on tax. You know, all my life I've watched politics. I've always liked it. I've watched it. I participated, but from the standpoint of a donor. But I participated. And all my life I've watched politicians. We will cut your taxes. We will cut your taxes. These people say we're going to raise your taxes. This is the only time. It's never said. I've never heard it. They say it even if they don't mean it. We will cut your taxes. These people say that we're going to give you the biggest tax increase you've ever had. And that's what they're running on. And I tell Republicans, take that night, because that was a great night. You got record ratings. You saw that. The highest rated speech like ever of its kind.
He saw how many views that my YouTube video got. Yep,
and
very
run your
true.
midterms on it. And show us I'm talking about some young child with cancer, or some young, beautiful girl like Laken Riley, who was killed, and they don't get up.
Yeah.
And they don't salute the mother who's there devastated. Nungery, they don't get up, and they don't salute the mother whose child was devastated. I mean, brutally killed. The young boy with cancer that wants to be a cop, and they don't get up and salute that child. They not only don't get up, they're angry. And the only thing that happened...
The reason why they're angry is because their own tactics are being used against them. Democrats have been the masters of emotional manipulation and optics. That's the reason. And that's why Trump is so good at dealing with them, is because he has such a big background in entertainment, is that he knows how to do it better than they do because that's been his job.
What was interesting, really, about it was that when I mentioned Ukraine,
that's the
and
reason.
people being killed, they started clapping. And that clap was led by Pocahontas.
I saw what you said, and,
Yeah.
and I want to ask you about Ukraine and the blow up the other day with Zelensky. Let me stay on the economy for a moment, because there are rising worries about a slowdown. You've got the Atlanta Federal Reserve saying we're going to have a contraction in the first quarter. Look, I know that you inherited a mess, and you said that the other night.
I've only been here,
but are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition, because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us. I mean, I think it should be great. It's going to be great ultimately for the farmer. You know, don't forget, I made the deal with China on the farmers where they had to buy $50 billion worth of product. $50 billion. Jesus. From 15 to 50.
Did they follow up and do it?
They did it when I was president. What happened is when Biden was president, they didn't buy any longer. Yeah, because there was nobody to call them. I used to call President Xi. I said, you got to do me a favor. You got to, live up to that agreement. And he was great. He did.
Damn.
Before you came into the Oval Office the first time, you were a very successful businessman, very successful real estate executive. And a lot of people said, oh, this is the business president. This is it. He's watching the stock market. He knows all about, he doesn't want the market to go down. And now we've got tariffs and the market has been going down.
Well, not much. I mean, in all fairness,
you said, look, we're going to have a disruption, but we're okay with that. Is that what you meant? The stock market going down was the disruption? What other disruption were you alluding to?
Look, what I have to do is build a strong country. You can't really watch the stock market. If you look at China, they have a 100-year perspective. We have a quarter. We go by quarters.
That's true.
I think he's very right about that, actually. I think that's a really, really, really good point. And that's been something that I've criticized a lot of companies on, right? And that's why I was saying about how I think Japanese companies like Nintendo are doing such a better job than, I don't know, a lot of American companies that are making games. It's because they're like Blizzard, for example, because they're not thinking in terms of quarterly earnings reports. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't go by that. You have to do what's right. What we're doing is we're building a tremendous foundation for the future, tremendous foundation. Everything's been taken away. We don't make ships anymore. We don't, you just saw one of the biggest shipbuilders in the world, one of the biggest shipping people in the whole world.
In the Oval Office with you.
In the Oval Office. He's announcing a $20 billion investment in the United States, which he would have never done except for this. But look at this. Honda, Toyota, they're all coming in. You take a look at what's happened. The chip maker, the greatest chipper, Mr. Wei, the biggest in the world by far, is going to spend $200 billion on making a massive plant to make chips.
So that's your message? Build it here?
Build it here, there's no tariff.
Yeah. The public companies want to make sure that we have clarity. After April 2nd, when those reciprocal tariffs go in,
is that
it? Are you going to change anything after that? Will we have clarity?
You'll have a lot, but we may go up with some tariffs. It depends. We may go up. I don't think we'll go down, but we may go up. But they have plenty of clarity. They just use that. That's like almost a soundbite. They always say that. We want clarity. Look, our country's been ripped off for many decades, for many, many decades, and we're not going to be ripped off anymore.
On the tariffs, what are the automakers going to do for a month? I mean, you say you wanted to help American automakers. Yeah, I did. You spoke with the three.
It's a transition period.
Okay.
And it's a transition into April. And after that, I'm not doing this. I mean, I told them, I said, look, I'm going to do it this one time, but after that, I'm not doing it. They called me and they wanted help during this little transition period, and I gave it to them.
Man, that's a long interview. This is going to be good. The rest of it, yeah, I'm ready for it. And with Japan coming in, there's a huge injection of money for AI. We're much closer to AI waifus. Yeah, I know. He's completely ignoring or is ignorant of the time and effort to revamp entire supply chains. Yeah, I think so too. And notice how Trump only uses euphemisms with tariffs. All other communications are hyperbolic. Well, yeah, of course, because people don't want tariffs, and the messaging is that tariffs are going to cause people to pay more money. I mean, obviously, that's the reason why. I mean, it goes without saying that's what would happen.